Good day everyone. So Steam is a very good and useful tool we have here in Stormworks. But with those pros there also come a few cons. That mainly being the fact that it's very difficult to build. But I'll try to clear that up in this video by showing you how to build something like this. Let's first get into it with the first part, and that will be actually explaining what each of these components do. First off, you need a furnace or just a thing that generates heat. Here in Stormworks we have the diesel furnace, the electric furnace, the coal firebox, either small or large, and we also have a nuclear reactor, which we built that in the last episode of Stoneworks Basics. If we lay out the furnaces here, the diesel furnace has an input for supplying air, a port for removing exhaust, and coolants. The electric one has only the coolants, and the firebox has the same things as the diesel furnace. They also have a port for diesel, or the diesel furnace has, and the coal furnace has a port for a mineral duct here. The reactors don't need any air, their exhaust is already in, so the only thing they need are the coolants. And so we can put a few parts here. Moving on up, the second on our list is the boiler. This thing takes in the coolant, it sends the coolant through itself, and by that it heats up water that is already in the boiler, and it sends out the water as steam, and it also takes in the water. It starts out with around, I believe, 165 liters, and we can recycle the water, but I will come to that later. The boiler has a certain pressure. If it gets above zero, that means it's probably gonna start generating steam if there is fluid, which we can read using the fluid volume. We can also read our temperature, and another thing about the pressure is that if it gets above 10, it's gonna blow up. Now all of this steam can be sent out into two components, or three, but we'll cover that later. These components are the pistons, from large to small, and the turbines. All of these take in steam, use it to turn and generate RPS, and send the steam out. The main differences between these two are that pistons have two steam inputs and outputs, whereas a turbine has only one for each thing. That is steam in and steam out. They also both have two ends where they generate RPS. Another difference between them is that I find pistons way better as they generate a lot more. They're kinda overpowered from what I've found. And another difference is if you put down a turbine, it's going to work as it is. Whereas if you put down a piston, you need to change the rotation offset. We will come to that when we actually start building. And last on our list is our steam condenser and our radiator. This takes in steam that has already been pushed through pistons or turbines. It cools it down and makes it into water. Obviously everything here is connected by pipes and such. But now let's get into the second part and actually start building. So first we will put down our furnace. We will be using the diesel one just for ease of use and because it's most popular. We will put down a tank here, although if you're trying to build this in your ship or anything, I recommend using a way bigger tank. Now we will get two pumps to sort out the coolants, and we will get two parts, the one for the exhaust, the one for the air. It's important that these are connected outside your vehicle. Let's put down a key or a toggle button or anything like that to turn it on. And let's now go over to our boiler. We will get our pipes and we will drag them out along the way. At the end we will put our boiler and get these two holes to line up with these pipes. The reason why we're putting the boiler so far away is that this not only generates heat inside itself, but it also generates heat outside itself. That means that if we put it too close, it's going to blow up even if we stop all of the flow to it. So I always like to put my boilers far away from my furnaces. Now let's move on to the pistons or turbines. I will use pistons here. It's best you use 6 pistons because anything over 6 is just not going to work, and anything under 6 is not going to make it smooth and not going to generate as much torque and RPS. And now to the rotation offset. We need to offset these, and they should all be offset by the same number from the ones next to them. So since we have 6, we will make them offset by 0.2. This is 0.5, 0.3, 0.1, minus 0.1, minus 0.3, and minus 0.5. And now we need to link up our steam. So we will get the steam output from our boiler. We will get an angled pipe, and we will bring this pipe into our pistons. Now here we will use these types of pipes and just bring them all along here. We will add angled pipes and we will link all of this up. Now we also need to use pumps, and large pumps are preferable. This is because we really don't want to clog our system, because if there is too much steam, these are going to spin slowly and a lot of steam is going to still end up in the boiler, which is going to build the pressure, and that could end in an explosion. We will go back during the making of our controller to that. Now we will find our steam out ports and we will do the same. We can actually also just get this and duplicate it and turn it around. And now, where do we put this steam? Well, our condenser comes into play. So we will put our condenser here. The important thing is to leave all of these ports exposed. We will just get a few pipes, go into the side, get pumps. This one will be like this and the other one will be like this. Or you can flip it, it doesn't matter. And now we shall get our radiator. I use large ones to just make it quicker. Now here we have these two parts. This one is steam in, so we're just gonna get this pipe and bring this into there. And this is water out, which is going to go into our water in our boiler. Now I built this kind of wrong, that we have to go around here, but it doesn't really matter much. I think we can add another pump here, they don't consume too much electricity. Also, just so you know, this smaller part is in and the bigger one is out. And now we have all of this set up. The only thing that's left is our logic. And also we could add some generators just for fun. So let's get a large generator. Or actually some gearboxes before it, because these things love themselves some RPS. Oh, this went through exactly perfectly. That's good. Well, now onto the logic. We will make a quick little controller for this. I have already made one, but we will start from scratch. I will just show how it works, and I will show that it's quite easy. So let's get the controller and edit it. You can call it whatever you want, that doesn't matter really. Let's make it 2x2 and let's add 4 logic nodes and space them like this. Let's make this one the turn on. This is gonna go from our key. This one will be the pressure. Let's set it as a number. And these two will be outputs. This will be pump 1 and pump 2. Now if we want, we also can add a node that will be for our desired pressure, but we will turn back to that later. Now let's just do this and let's add a property number or slider. as it's called. Let's set this as pressure, and we will do something like this. That should be fine. And our start value will be 1. And basically here we can select what our pressure will be. Now we will get a less than block. And we will also get a few and blocks. We will link these up into the pumps. And let's say that this can be B. So these pumps turn on only if on is on. And let's say pump 1 is the more important one. Now let's also get a couple function blocks. Let's get 2 of them. Into the first one, let's put x minus 0.05. Let's put it into our property slider. Now if the pressure is less than this minus 0.05, so let's put it into B. And so if the pressure is less than this, that means that both of these pumps will be on. And so pump 1 will be on only in this scenario. Let's put in an OR block. Put that into A for the pump 2. And put this as A or B, it doesn't matter with OR blocks. Now we have a second function block here. And we will get our property slider again. And let's put in x plus 0.05. Again, a less than block. That would mean that if the pressure is less than this, then we will have this pump on. And if the pressure is less than this, we will have both pumps on. And if the pressure is higher than anything here, we will have no pumps on. Now I think that's our system finished. Let's now update it and use it here. Connect pump 1 to the first pump. Connect pump 2 to this one. And basically if this one is gonna be on, it's gonna extract the hot water from the boiler, which is also gonna lower our temperature. And because this one is not gonna be on, it's going to not get any more hot water. So that's cool. Now I have already done that, but we can connect everything here with the key button. Basically anything that isn't connected with these, we use the key button. And obviously we will also use the key button to turn this on, and we will get our pressure from our boiler. Now let's use pressure, and let's use 0.5. And now if you ever want to go above 0.5, you can go up to 5, and then if you go above 5, then it's gonna overshoot and it's gonna go above 10 and it's gonna blow up. Because at the start this is not stable. It stabilizes after some time. But now a way to get to that pressure is to use a keypad to control our pressure. And that is the desired pressure thing I talked about. So we can just remove our property slider. We can add another node. That will be a number node. Let's name it desired pressure. Put it into these two. Let's hook it up to the keypad. And now obviously when you use this, you can't go directly to, let's say, 9 pressure. You have to go in small increments. So start off with 1 and wait for it to go to 1, and then do the same with 2 and then 3 and 4 for it to not blow up. Just be careful if you want to do that. But now that's done, let's go and see how it works. But now also with this property number, you may have noticed that the number is very low, and let me explain. The reason the value is so low is that these things get clogged up, and basically the best amount of steam you can need for these is 50 steam, which we can see around here, and that's a little below 1 pressure, so you don't need as much pressure. And so per 6 large pistons, 50 steam. That's a good rule of thumb I use. That's gonna give you 1.2 RPS. which that's good. And if it goes above that, it's gonna slow and slow and slow down. And if you have like 4 pressure, it's gonna go at like 0.3 RPS, which is very quite bad. And it's not only going to impact your performance, it's also going to impact your boiler, with the fact that the boiler could explode because there is too much steam getting clogged and some steam is getting stuck in the boiler, and that means there is more pressure in the boiler and it just doesn't stop and it blows up. And now our generators are generating a lot. I've gotten way more output out of generators, even though this is a lot. There are quite a lot of videos on Steam, but I don't think they really go over everything, so I decided to make this, and I hope it was helpful to you in this aspect. I've been using Steam for a long while and I really like it, so I hope you like it too. Now, I guess that's the end of the video, so I hope you enjoyed, I hope you found it informative, and if you did enjoy and found it informative, you may want to subscribe. Obviously there's no pressure about that, you don't have to. And now with all of this built, see ya.